Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Uvalde gunman and all the stuff that he did online leading up to this massacre that happened at this elementary school in Texas. Now, as always, folks, if you want to join us here at the Bald Brad Show or support a conservative, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this link with your friends and family all over social media. And with that being said, this one comes from the Texas Tribune, and they say here, before massacre, Uvalde gunmen frequently threatened teen girls online. And folks, this is just the gist of it. The stuff that we're about to go over is going to make your head spin on what this person said and did before ever committing these heinous crimes. And I think it's important to go over because the mainstream media is covering the police aspect and what they lacked in, and rightfully so. There's a ton of blame to be had on the police department, trust me. But the mainstream media, I think, is forgetting the other aspect on the community that surrounded this individual. And yes, there was reporting, which we're about to go over, but the social media app that was being used on this reporting didn't report it to local law enforcement, it seems like, or some sort of agency that could at least intervened on this. Because like I said, folks, when we go over this, there is a lot of stuff that got let go in which, if it would have been handled correctly, probably would have not allowed this person to get a firearm and receive some sort of treatment, because what they were doing and saying is not normal by any means. Now, again, like I said, this is from the Texas Tribune, and they say here, he could be cryptic, demeaning, and scary, sending angry messages and photos of guns. If they didn't respond how he wanted, he sometimes threatened to rape and kidnap them, then laughed it off as some big joke. But the girls and young women who talked with Salvador Ramos online in the months before he allegedly killed 19 children in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, rarely reported him. His threats seemed too vague, several said in interviews with the Washington Post. One team who reported Ramos on the social app Yubo said nothing happened as a result. And you're going to see constant reports being sent through Yubo about this individual and nothing happening. Some also suspected that this was just how teen boys talked on the internet these days. A blend of rage and misogyny so predictable they could barely tell each one apart. One girl discussing moments when they had been creepy and threatening said that was just how online is. So if that is the case, there's a massive issue in our young men in terms of how they're discussing things on social media. And I think that's more of a parental aspect of inculcating certain values in our young men, as well as women too. It's not just young men, into how to be talking online, having certain what's called digital citizenship in talking to people online, because that is no way, and that is not normal. Especially somebody that grew up on social media with AOL, MySpace, all that stuff. That is not how teen boys talked when I was a teenager. So something has clearly happened over the course of a couple decades here where they're talking like this. Parents need to step in and start monitoring this type of stuff, because look what's happened with somebody saying things. And if it's supposedly been so normalized, this person got away with doing a lot of things they shouldn't have been doing on social media. In the aftermath of the deadliest school shooting in a decade, many have asked what more could have been done, how an 18-year-old who spewed so much hate to so many on the web could do so without provoking punishment or raising alarm. Yeah, because when we go over this stuff, you're going to be like, how is this person not getting punished? How is this person not being encountered by some sort of entity out there in law enforcement? Unbelievable, the failure here in the community aspect, as well as the social media apps here, on not going out and getting this person, at least interviewing them and dealing with them in a manner that would not have led to this situation happening in the first place. But these threats hadn't been discovered by parents, friends, or teachers. They've been seen by strangers, many of whom had never met him and have found him only through the social messaging and video apps that form the bedrock of the modern teen life. The Washington Post reviewed videos, posts, and text messages sent by Ramos and spoke with 4 young people who talked with him online, who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of harassment. The girls who spoke with the Post lived around the world but met Ramos on Yubo, an app that mixes live streaming and social networking and has been known as a Tinder for teens. The Yubo app has been downloaded more than 18 million times in the United States, including more than 200,000 times last month, according to estimates from the analytics firm Sensor Tower. On Yubo, people can gather in big real-time chat rooms known as panels to talk, type messages, and share videos, the digital equivalent of real-world hangout. Ramos, they said, struck up side conversations with them and followed them on other platforms, including Instagram, where he could send direct messages wherever he wanted. My question is if this person is harassing you and saying certain things on Yubo, and you've already sent Yubo certain alerts and alarms or whatever you want to call it about the threats that he's made. But then if nothing's being done there, wouldn't you try to at least reach out to Instagram about that person utilizing another app to say threatening things to somebody else? Wouldn't you try to reach out to your local law enforcement and say, hey, this person's harassing me, and reach out to them? So just to say, well, I went to Yubo and well, nothing happened, my hands are clean on this, seems like a lack of responsibility to the individual that's being threatened against. A 16-year-old boy in Austin who said he saw Ramos frequently in Yubo panels told the Post that Ramos frequently made aggressive sexual comments to young women on the app and sent him a death threat during one panel in January. Quote, I witnessed him harass girls and threaten them with sexual assault, like raping and kidnapping, said the team. It was not like a single occurrence, it was frequent. He and his friends reported Ramos's account to Yubo for bullying and other infractions dozens of times. He never heard back, he said, and the account remained active. Yubo spokeswoman Amy Williams would not say whether the company received reports of abuse related to Ramos's account. So it makes you wonder, did the kids really report them or this individual, or did they not? I hope that they're telling the truth here and they actually did report them, but who knows? Quote, as there is an ongoing and active investigation and because this information concerns a specific individual's data, we are not legally able to share these details publicly at this time, she said in an email. Williams would not say what law prevents the company from commenting. You have Greg Abbott said Wednesday that Ramos had also written, I'm going to shoot my grandmother. I'm going to shoot an elementary school shortly before the attack, in messages on Facebook. And Texas Department of Public Safety officials said Friday that Ramos had discussed buying a gun several times in private chats on Instagram. Now, here's my thing. With the algorithm that's on all these social media platforms and censoring conservatives, Republicans for things they say, the disinformation, the misinformation, we get flagged all the time, right? I have a lot of friends that have TikTok accounts that have been banned multiple times for harassment and certain bullying type stuff. That's nowhere remotely like this, been banned. How is it this person got through? You're telling me there's no algorithm out there when a person literally says, I'm going to shoot an elementary school, and there's no algorithm out there to spot that and pull that and raise red flags and alarms and all those things? You're telling me there's nothing like that? I find that very hard to believe on how they go after conservatives and Republicans for the things they say. That's nowhere near what this person wrote. And there's no red flag on that at all. Unbelievable failure. 10 days before the shooting, he wrote in one of the messages, 10 days before the shooting, okay? 10 more days, according to the official. Another person wrote to him, are you going to shoot up a school or something? To which Ramos responded, no. Stop asking dumb questions. You'll see, the official said. Now, I want to use this as an aspect of clarifying the problem with the left's argument. The left wants to ban the AR-15s. They also want to implement background checks. I would like to point out there already are background checks. And because a lot of this stuff never got reported personally to local law enforcement or the people surrounding this individual, it never got reported. So there's no sign of mental instability that was reported to these gun shop owners that were selling these firearms to this individual. So how the hell would the person selling this stuff ever been able to know that there's something wrong with this individual? They have no idea. They don't know who the hell this kid is. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is saying, oh, well, couldn't they have just asked them the question? I believe this comes from Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar of The View, saying, well, they should be asking them questions. What do you need an AR-15 for? All this stuff. The terrible Whoopi Goldberg impression. I apologize. This is why, Whoopi, is because he's lying to people online already. You think he's going to go walk up to the gun dealer shop and they go, hey, what do you need this firearm for? I'm going to shoot up a school. I'm going to kill a bunch of kids. Do you think he's going to sit there and tell them the truth? So that's why the View, President Biden, Democrats are a bunch of knuckleheads, because they say idiotic things like that. And right here, you have him lying to people online when he was clearly asked, hey, are you going to shoot up a school or something? He says, no, stop asking dumb questions. Andy Stone, a spokesperson for Meta, who owns Facebook, Instagram, and the chat service WhatsApp, referred the Post to an earlier statement from the company that said the messages were sent privately. The rise of services that connect strangers through private messaging has strained the conventional see something, say something mantra repeated in the decades since the Columbine High School massacre and other attacks, according to social media researchers. And when strangers do suspect something wrong, they may feel they have limited ways to respond beyond filing a user report into a corporate abyss. Many of Ramos's threats to assault women, the young women added, barely stood out from the undercut current of sexism that pervades the internet. Something they said they have fought back against, but also come to accept. if this really is the case, right? If this type of threat is taking place, and I have no reason to believe it's not taking place, there has to be more consequences then for these young teen men that are writing things like this online. Like some serious issues with that. Like some actual jail time or juvie or whatever it is, because they need to learn that when this stuff arises and comes up, there's going to be penalties for the things that you say, and you're threatening women online through your words that could lead to something horrific like this taking place. It needs to be taken a lot more serious online. You don't just get to go threaten people, rape and sexual assault, death threats, and just get away with it. That is wild. A 2021 Pew Research Center study found these experiences are common for young people, with about 2/3 of adults under 30 reporting that they've experienced online harassment. 33% of women say under 35 say they have been sexually harassed online. Now, when these Pew Research studies are given, when you ask certain questions, it could lead to some sort of bias in favor of what the question's asking. So when they say online harassment, again, when somebody says, look, a male can't give birth, they can look at that as harassment. When they say, I'm sorry, but you're a trans person, you're a biological male, even though you think you're a biological male, even though you think you're a woman, they'll look at that as harassment as well. So I'm not going to look at these numbers too much because it could be skewed in different directions. I haven't gone and analyzed the study itself and looked at the questions that are being asked, but that's what I tend to lean towards when I see online harassment. It's purely subjective. Well, you have another person, a law professor of University of Virginia, said women and girls often don't report threats of rape to law enforcement or trusted adults because they have been socialized to feel they do not deserve safety and privacy online. Sometimes they don't think anyone would help them. Women and girls have internalized the view. What else do we expect? The author of the upcoming book, The Fight of Privacy, Protecting Dignity, Identity, and Love in the Digital Age. Our safety and intimate privacy is something that society doesn't value. Now, I will say we're trying to combat this a little bit in the education field by teaching digital citizenship to students. It is quite tough because, again, we're not with them at home. Most of this should be left up to the parents, and the parents probably need to do a better job of monitoring their son or daughter. I'm not saying it's easy, but do a better job of monitoring their son or daughter's behavior online. Because look what arises from this, where the parents, the friends, and the teachers had no idea what this person was saying, and they're the ones closest to him, and then he goes and commits this heinous act. Ramos's hatreds towards women and obsession with violence were clear in the messages viewed and interviews conducted by the Post, but his identity was mostly hidden. The teens who spoke with the Post said they saw him on live videos he did on Yubo, then they exchanged Instagram usernames to message with him. And he constrained his comments to private messages services like Yubo and Instagram, leaving only the recipients with the burden to react. Like many of the people he spoke with, Ramos had shared little about himself online. He used screen names like Salvador and the Biggest Op, and shared only his first name and his age. His profile pictures were selfies, him holding up his shirt or looking dour in front of a broken mirror. He shared animal videos, struck up flirtatious conversations, and shared intimate things about his past that left some feeling like distant friends. But in recent months, he also started posting darker imagery, moody black and white photos and pictures of rifles on his bed. His threats were often hazy and unspecified, and therefore easily dismissed as just a troll or bad joke. One girl told the Post she first saw Ramos in a Yubo panel telling someone, "Shut up before I shoot you," but figured it was harmless because kids joke around like that. Again, there's a constant theme of kids joking in a way that they shouldn't be. Something happened in our culture and our social fabric where kids are now joking in ways that are inappropriate, and honestly in ways that I don't remember joking around with as a kid. When we played video games, we talked about shooting one another because we're literally in a video game, but nothing like this. Nobody ever joked about raping a girl. So there's some massive issues, if this is all being said and is all truthful, that there's a massive problem in our social fabric and also a massive problem in our local communities then on individual family basis where this type of stuff is being allowed by young teen boys. Quote, he would threaten everyone, she said. He would talk about shooting up schools, but no one believed him. No one would think he would do it. Let me read that again. He would threaten everyone, she said. He would talk about shooting up schools, but nobody believed him. No one would think he would do it. You don't think that should raise some sort of alarms with the things that have been going on since Columbine, that you would have some sort of wherewithal to contact law enforcement by you just going, well, I'm going to contact Yubo. Everything's going to be fine. They'll handle it. If they're not, and they didn't, right? So if anything, we should learn from this going, hey, you know what? Teaching our kids to say, Don't just message the app. If you see somebody like that saying they're going to shoot up a school, you need to come talk to me. As your parent, you need to come talk to me. And as the parents, because clearly the kids are just messaging these apps. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing on reporting this stuff to the right authorities that can maybe track an IP address, that can maybe track and resource where this person's at and the things that they said. The lack, again, of the people surrounding this person, whether they're distant friends or not, the lack of Yubo, the lack of their friends, the lack of the parents knowing on what's going on with the kid, the lack of the kid's friends in real life, even though he really, I hate to be redundant, lacked friends on not reporting this person, again, probably could have inhibited him from ever getting a firearm, because maybe he would have got the help that he needed mentally, because clearly there's something off with this guy. And I say so because he's holding up photos of dead cats. People in the community talked about him killing animals. It was something that was well known. But again, nobody reports this stuff. It just gets let go, which is why I say we need to cover this stuff, because it's important that us as community members, we look out for kids and people that are acting weird and acting strange. It's not a normal thing to kill animals. And if in the neighborhood people are like, yeah, that kid kills animals, kills cats all the time, stabs them multiple times repeatedly, is posting things online, holding up dead animals, that's not a normal thing for a teenager to do, let alone anybody. Not normal. But, you know, it just gets let go, and now this kid goes and kills a freaking bunch of children at elementary school. But we're only going to blame the police, but we don't want to focus on this other aspect, which, again, I know I'm repeating myself, which is why we're covering it right now. Another 16-year-old said she met Ramos on Yubo in February, and that he messaged her asking for her Instagram account. Earlier this month, he reacted to a meme she posted that referenced a weapon with a laughing emoji and said, personally, I wouldn't use an AK-47, but a better gun, an AR-15 style rifle like the one police have said he used in the shooting, according to a screenshot viewed by the Post. The Uvalde shooting comes less than 2 weeks after another gunman killed 10 black people in Buffalo grocery store. He live streamed the attack through the video service Twitch, which removed the stream within a few minutes. Copies of it remain online. The alleged gunman, Peyton, also used the chat platform Discord as a place to save his online writings and pre-attack to-do list. On the day of the attack, he invited people to his private room, and the 15 who accepted were then able to scroll back through months of his racist screeds and see another view of his attack live stream. Discord has said the messages were visible only to the suspect until he shared them the day of the attack. Now, I do think maybe, and this is going to be tough because you're talking about privacy aspect, right? And you don't want certain companies having that access to your private messages, which I guess we got to be honest, through that terms of service that we all click on without even reading it gives them access anyways. But with this type of stuff happening, there needs to be more of an algorithm, more of a catch-all. When somebody says they're going to shoot somebody, or they're going to shoot up a school, or you see words like, or phrases, I'm going to rape you, things like that need to be caught by these apps. And there needs to be some serious consequences with it, because it's not a normal thing. And if there are no consequences, then people are going to continue to do and say these types of things, which is going to lead to more shootings, more heinous acts, more rapes, more sexual harassment, more bullying, all this stuff, because there's no consequences. They're getting let go. Nothing's happening. Clearly, the parents aren't doing it because the parents don't know about it, or the guardian doesn't know about it, so they're not able to do anything. All this stuff is being let go. And again, the community aspect needs to be there, and we need to inculcate certain values into our youth so that they don't go online and think this type of behavior is okay. I'm blown away that teenagers, young boys, and also young women, but it seems like mostly young men, are acting like this online and just spewing this type of stuff. I get that there's jokes made between friends. Not joking around shooting up a school is not a funny joke, or raping women's a funny joke. None of that's funny. That's stupid. You should never get adults, let alone teenagers, talking about that. But again, I'm curious. I want to see what happens with Yubo here, because there might be some massive lawsuits going against this company for not reporting and not actually actively taking seriously, allegedly, these reports that were sent to them about sexual harassment, rape, him saying he's going to shoot up a school, making a death threat towards another kid. It's just the continued failures around this individual before this stuff ever happened. And this is just a snippet. Like I said, the community knew he was killing animals. Okay. The community knew, not the community of Uvalde necessarily. There were some in the community that knew he was killing animals, but when he's posting this stuff online and it's just like, oh, I sent out a thing. Like, you didn't think to like talk to your parents that somebody made a death threat to you online. If somebody made a death threat about me, you don't think I would talk to my friends and family about it and probably report it? If I saw somebody make a death threat on YouTube towards me, you don't think I would report it? You don't think I would talk to somebody about it? You're out of your mind if you don't think so. And I hope when people see this that they go, hey, you know what? If somebody does make a threat to me, I'm just going to report it just to be safe. Maybe might have stopped a massive crime like this happening because somebody thought it would be a good idea to say something stupid online. But I can rant on this for hours. I thought about actually doing a live stream on this, folks. But with that being said, let me know what you think about all this in the comment. Am I wrong for saying, look, there's a failure clearly in the community? And when I say community, I'm not necessarily talking about the Uvalde community. I'm talking about the social community as a whole, where yes, you know what? Hey, rightfully so, report to Yubo. But if somebody's making death threats and talking about raping you online, don't you think that they should have at least taught the teenagers? Don't you think they should have talked to their parents about all this? Going, hey, some kid just threatened to rape me online. As a parent, and again, let me know in the comments, wouldn't you try to seek out this individual that's trying to rape your daughter or your child and going, hey, there needs to be some consequences for this individual because it's not okay? Wouldn't you contact at least your local law enforcement? Or maybe now you're going to take it a little bit more serious because you're seeing what happened? I digress, folks. Again, let me know down in the comments below before I say something and I go off here and continue to rant more on the Bald Brad Show. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this link with your friends and family all over social media. And folks, I will see you later here on the Bald Brad Show.